Before, I read a little Bible, a little bit, and I read Quran a little bit. But I wasn't impressed. Many times I scared people. If you just put this knife to person's neck, anybody will start like tremble, because it's really a horrible experience. And 2 times I remember I did it. I remember one moment I understood, wow, this is what I want to have. And it completely changed my life. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I was asked to speak about my experience before Krishna Consciousness, and then how I became a Vaishnava, or trying to be a Vaishnava. I was born in Kazakhstan. My name is Sri Sanatan Goswami Das, and I joined Krishna Consciousness in 1991. And if you know the history of the Soviet Union, Soviet Union was a very, very big country, and one very bad thing that I remember, that we were not allowed to speak about God. When I went to my school, I remember one teacher told us, who believes in God? Who believes in God? All these people, they're crazy. And I remember it. So in the Soviet Union, it was forbidden to speak about God, to believe in God. So I was educated and shaped in such a way. My father was a communist, and my mother, she wasn't a communist, but she didn't believe in God. People outside, they think that Kazakhstan is a Muslim country, but actually in the Soviet Union, nobody was allowed to believe in God. So I was a normal, so-called normal boy, and my friends were drug takers, thieves, and all these bad guys. Because I couldn't live like my father and mother. I didn't want to live like them, because they were very simple people, they were very honest, and I saw that people who steal, people who give bribes, people who are somehow rather make money, they become rich. But my father and mother, they were very simple, they were honest. So I didn't want to live like them. I wanted to live like cool guys. So therefore, I remember that in the beginning, I went to a school. All children, they were more or less polite and educated. But then we moved to another part of our city. And I had to go to another school. And in that school, something crazy was going on. So children, they were not properly trained, and their behavior was very, very bad. I remember that one of the students, he just opened the window and started to smoke in the school. So I couldn't believe my eyes. I just, wow, what is this? So, and when one girl, she asked to close that window, that guy, he said, shut up, red, or I don't want to use that word. So after some time, I became like those bad guys. So I started to go to some bad places, etc. So After 2 years living in that place, I became completely bad guy. So I didn't go to my school, I didn't listen to my parents, and I started to become crazy, more or less. So I had a knife, and that knife was, I bought it from one of my friends. It costed, I remember, 25 rubles. Maybe for you it doesn't mean anything, but for people who were born in the Soviet Union, 25 rubles, it's a big sum, big amount. So one guy came to me and said, "Do you want this knife?" I looked, and it was very good because it had a button, and if you press that button, the blaze comes out. Very nice. I had never used it, fortunately, but many times I scared people. If you just put this knife to person's neck, anybody will start like tremble, because it's really a horrible experience. And 2 times I remember I did it. So therefore, it was so dear for me, this knife. I was so attached to my knife. And once my brother, he said, "Can I take your knife? Because tomorrow I'm going with my girlfriend. Can I take it?" And I said, "Yes, you can, but don't lose it." He said, "Yes, no problem." And he took my knife. And then next day, I asked him, "Where is my knife?" He said, "I'm sorry, it dropped into water." I said, "What?" He said, it's lost, I'm sorry." And it was so horrible for me to hear. I couldn't believe, and then I read in one newspaper, there is one book, it's called Bhagavad Gita. Imagine, believe me or not, but before I read a little Bible, a little bit, and I read Quran a little bit, but I wasn't impressed. But then I read about Bhagavad Gita, and I remember it was written there that Einstein, Gandhi, Tolstoy, Thoreau, Emerson, they read this book and they were inspired. So when I read it, I told my brother, "Look, you lost my knife, buy me this book." And he said, "Okay, I know these Krishnaites, these crazy guys, they jump up and down on our main street, so I will buy it, no problem." So he fulfilled his promise. He brought me Bhagavad Gita. And it was interesting for me to read about, because I know who Einstein is, Tolstoy and Gandhi and so on. So I started to read. And because I didn't know the etiquette, I read it in the toilet. Sorry. I read it whenever I had time, I read Bhagavad Gita. And then I remember one moment I understood, wow, this is what I want to have. And it completely changed my life. Then I told my friends, "Guys, I don't want to smoke anymore. I don't want to drink. I don't want to do any these bad things." And they couldn't believe. They said, "Damir, my Monday name is Damir. Damir, let's go. And my girlfriend came to me and she said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "Read this book. It's written here that it's not good to eat meat, it's not good to drink tea, it's not good to do this, to do that." And my girlfriend, she was like, "What, are you crazy? What are you doing? Let's go, let's walk," and so on. And I said, "No, stop." My relatives, actually Kazakh people, they like to eat meat. And they like eat beef and so on. So when they saw that I don't eat meat, they started to laugh. Like, "Wah, ha, ha, look at this Hindu, ah, ha, ha, ha. He read bad books." And after some time it will vanish, so just let's have fun. But after some time they noticed that I didn't start to eat meat again. And they started to respect me. And still, when I meet my brothers and sisters and other relatives, they just respect. And it's not my credit actually, it's Prabhupada's credit, it's our Guru Parampara's credit. So then I went to St. Petersburg, it's in Russia. Before that, practically speaking, I didn't meet devotees. I just met devotees once. And they gave me some Mahaprasadam. And when I tasted Mahaprasadam, it was just, some herbal tea. I thought, wow, this is something amazing. And then they give me some sabji or dal. And then when I tasted it, I understood that this is something really out of this world, like something extraordinary. And then I went to St. Petersburg. I started to go to some programs. And I remember when I saw Indra Maharaj on Harinama, I couldn't believe, wow, he was so effulgent. On Parikrama, and he started to preach. And I saw devotees. Devotees were very simple, very simple people. But I couldn't believe, wow, this is what Prabhupada described in his books. This is like Harinam. And then on one day I went to some program, a public program. And devotees, one moment they offered their obeisances. And I couldn't believe what is going on, because before I have never offered any obeisances to anyone. And then I remember that my neck or my back couldn't, bend. I couldn't believe that they are in obeisances and I'm just standing. And I noticed that one sannyasi is approaching. Actually, it was Gopal Krishna Maharaj, but I thought that it's Prabhupada because I forgot that Prabhupada left this world. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj, he was looking at me. And all devotees, they were in dandavats or obeisances, but I was like this. And then it was my first experience when I offered my obeisances to Vaishnava. So and my false ego crashed. So I was completely changed. And then I remember that I wanted to give up my studies. I wanted to give up my university. And then I went to one program with my mother and my brother. And I said, look, this actually material education is ignorance. And I read it in Ishopanishad, or I don't remember, in Bhagavad Gita, that actually material education is ignorance. So I read it and I showed it to my mother and brother. I said, look, I don't want to study anymore because this is just ignorance. And my mother, she started to cry. She said, it was my dream to give you good education. I didn't study in university, but I want you to study in university. So please, I said, no, I don't want to study. And my brother, he started to cry. He said, if I knew this, I didn't buy this book. Why? And then we met one devotee, senior devotee. And he said one very good thing that I'm grateful to him for this. He said, what can you do now? I was 16 years old, or 17 years old. I said, I don't know. He said, do you need to eat? I said, yes. Do you need to sleep? I said, yes. He said, but what can you do now? I said, I don't know. He said, go and study. ISKCON needs educated people. I remember this. And he did like this. And he said, ISKCON needs educated people. Go and study. When you finish your university, come back and we will do something. And I was like, I wanted to go to a brahmachari ashram, and this one devotee, senior devotee, he's telling that actually ISKCON needs educated people. And I finished my university. By Krishna's mercy, by that devotee's mercy, I finished my university with red marks. and I gave to my mother, gave my diploma to my mother. She was so happy, and I'm also happy. I was also happy because that education was really useful, and I can see now, after 25 years, that ISKCON really needs educated people. Any society actually needs educated people, but ISKCON needs brahmanas, and we need, of course, spiritually educated people. But material education, if we do it, it's good. So my life completely changed, and by Krishna's mercy, now I'm trying to serve Vaishnavas like you. Hare Krishna. So my conclusion is that I don't know where I would be at this age, because my friends, those people, those boys who were my friends before Krishna Consciousness, actually they finished in prisons. Some of them, they died because of drugs. Many of them, they became criminals. And when I see them, when I see their faces, I understand that it's the only Prabhupada's mercy, it's the only Lord Chaitanya's mercy that I'm still alive and I can do something. More or less, I try to think about Krishna and I try to serve Prabhupada in this mission. So therefore, my conclusion is that this society, this Krishna Consciousness movement, is saving the world, is saving people like myself. I was really mlecha and yavana, and Krishna just gave me this mercy through Prabhupada, through devotees. And my humble request to all of you that please just think seriously, just study seriously this movement, this science of Krishna Consciousness, because it's not only external thing, it's really susukham kartam avyayam. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitramidam Uttamam Pratyakshavagam Dharmyam Susukham kartam avyayam. So it's a Raja Vidya, it's the king of knowledge. Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, it's the secret of, it's the king of all secrets. Raja Guhyam Pavitramidam Uttamam. So it's the most pure. Idamut is transcendental. Pratyakshavagam Dharmyam. So it's religious and it gives experience, pratyaksha. So it's you can feel it, you can taste it, you can experience this Krishna consciousness. And susukham kartam avyayam. When you practice it, you become happy. It's not imagination, it's not bluff, it's real thing. So just become Krishna consciousness, take it seriously and be happy.